you have 3 friends, okay, and you're with 2 of your friends right now, and let's say your first friend is running late to see all of you. So your other 2 friends are kind of talking badly about that friend, and this kind of happens often, and then the friend that's running late suddenly gets there, and then they start acting really nice to this friend, and just totally different from how they were a second ago. So what should you do if this happens like really often? I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Cheryl.
Cheryl, could you answer this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Toastmasters and guests. That actually happens a lot of times, even with older people and professional people. And it's kind of something that we're all tempted to do. It's not very unco. So what I would say is, if that happens to occur, stress being sincere with all of the friends and explain how deflated one can feel after doing something like that. Because we don't really want to feel that way toward our friends or strangers. We want to treat them right and not talk about them behind their backs. So I would say just stress sincerity and openness.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was a pretty unco response. And anyway, we have another topic. Oh, I have a lot of topics. Coding. If you weren't getting paid, what would you be doing with your life?
Well, if I could survive without a paycheck and I had to do something with my life, I don't think I would take the advantage and sit and watch TV all day, because I don't really do that now. I would like to do something outdoors. I really like the outdoors, paddleboarding, surfing, hanging out at the beach, hiking. So maybe I would pack up my backpack and hit the Appalachian Trail and see if I could survive out there and give that a shot. So that's what I would do if I had to do something and not do it for a paycheck.
Tom, are you a cat or dog person, and why?
Toastmasters. This is actually a very timely question, as my family has decided to adopt a cat. However, let me tell you a little bit about the story about adopting this cat. It's a friend of ours who unfortunately has going through some health problems, and so she can no longer take care of her animals, and so we went over to meet all 3, which included a little dog and 2 different cats, and one of the cats has won over the heart of my son, daughter, and wife. I hate cats. But we're getting the cat. In fact, they're out tonight while I'm here buying things for said cat that we will get tomorrow morning. To answer the other half, am I a dog person? I have been fighting my wife about getting a dog for almost 1.5 years now. I have been waving no, we need to get a bigger dog, like a German Shepherd, big dog. Because she wants a small dog like a Chihuahua. Well, in the midst of us going to this house where the dog in the house is a Chihuahua, she's like, I know you don't like Chihuahuas, but it's a dog. And I said, sweetheart, I don't want a dog. The whole get us a German Shepherd or a Great Dane was just a red herring of something you didn't want. So I'm actually neither. I'm more of a fish or reptile person. I want a tortoise. And so neither, because they're just not my speed. Thank you.
stories. There's been this report of a criminal on TV who is very violent and who is known to kidnap his victims, and sometimes they get killed. And you're at the grocery store and you're putting groceries in your car, and then suddenly this criminal, like you recognize them, comes up to you and they have a gun and they want you to drive them somewhere. What do you do?
So there's a criminal on the loose. I'm doing grocery shopping. I paid for my groceries. I'm going back out to my car. Open the trunk to put the groceries in, and this criminal comes up to me with this gun to my back. What would I do? I'm not sure what I would actually do, but I can fantasize what I would do if I was brave enough. And this is an extreme case. I'll just tell him, no, you would have to kill me right here. But I don't know how realistic that would be. Another fantasy would be I would know Aikido like Steven Seagal and to do whatever moves it takes to disarm him and then knock him out. Besides that, I don't know what else to do unless if there are people outside and I yell, help! I know he'll shoot me. Hopefully I don't get shot to the extent where I will die, but those are a few scenarios to that unco type of situation. Table topics master.
Paul, gosh, I just had a question, I forgot it. I'll go with this question. Is there a celebrity that has been very inspiring to you? And if so, in what way? Or if it's not a celebrity, like is there somebody in your life that has been very inspiring to you?
Fellow Toastmasters, our guests. I've had a lot of people in my life who have been a mentor to me and who have inspired me and have encouraged me to move on. One person, there are several people that come to mind, so it's a little bit of a difficult decision for me. The first person that comes to mind is my dad. So he's a man of faith, and he has a checkered past, but he has been strong with me. He's held me accountable to do things that I didn't think I could do, but what he saw I knew I could do. He's always told me the truth about things as well. I want to go on because there's so many other people in my life. Dr. King Cleasy was a physician from Australia. Wonderful man, faithful to his wife for over 70 years, cared for her into her disease, and she passed away from Alzheimer's. And just a brilliant surgeon who was operating into the 70s and was a mentor to me. But I think the biggest testimony was his faithfulness to his God and to his wife. I hope to be that way one day. So, another was Dr. Judy Williams, who was also a surgeon who mentored me, and she worked tirelessly at the hospital where my parents were missionaries, and never seemed to ask anything from anyone. But was always looking for ways to give. Even after we've had dinner together, she'd start washing the dishes, and my goodness, she'd been doing surgeries all day, and she wants to keep serving. But that was her heart. So these are some to people, not necessarily celebrities, but to me, they inspire me.
Okay, this question is for Katie. If you could only describe yourself with one word, what word would it be and why?
Fellow Toastmasters, if I had to describe myself in one word, I like to think happy. I'm a happy person. I normally look for the best in everyone. In a situation, I find that you can really very easily look at the negative things in life, but also you have more fun. And I just enjoy life more when you see that positive, whether in faith or in work or in friends, and just kind of being the best you can be and helping other people be the best that they can be. So if I had to choose one word, I guess I'm a happy person. Thank you.
Okay, reading. What do you do for fun? That's it. It's a pretty general question.
There's a lot of things I like to do for fun. Mobile, I like to go to the theater to concert, symphony concert. Mobile, the city there has a ballet, have an opera and symphony. USA has a student that can performance drama. Always I like, but most one is symphony, mobile symphony orchestra. The performance very excellent concert. Thank you.
Oh, here's some things. Okay, just what is important about to go to war over? Here's some good questions.
Fellow Toastmasters guests, I've been asked, what is important enough to go to war over? Personally, it has to be something very severe. I would not take that lightly. Definitely the kind of person that takes that considers that kind of action an extreme measure. And I think a lot of the recent things that we've gone to war over, maybe I'm getting a little political here, maybe not the best situations. Diplomacy's better. Use every lever you have before you go to war. But certainly you look at World War II, the Great World War, and you look at the fight against Germany especially. To me, that is a very clear-cut situation. I mean, you're fighting against tyranny. You're fighting against a very difficult, very clear-cut situation. So I would say that one is straightforward. But I would say that wars like the Gulf War, maybe not as clear-cut. Maybe diplomacy or working harder to work things out would have been more appropriate in those cases. When you look at, because it's a cost-benefit analysis in the end, right? What's the benefit of this? What's the cost of it in human life? And well, I hate to say that the dollar cost. It's really about the human life that really plays into that and what are you getting back for it. So I don't know if that's specific enough to answer your question, but I would definitely think hard about taking an action like that. Thank you.
Okay, that was a very good response. Thank you, Justin. So this next question is for Mark. Mark, what are your top 5 personal values?
Can you repeat that?
Sorry, what are your top 5 personal values?
Top 5.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think my top value is to do unto others like you would have done to you. And I think that rolls up, everything else rolls up into that. So I really can't list 5 different ones. But I think it's important that you're honest in your relationship with people and that you don't take advantage of people. There's nothing wrong with trying to get the best, negotiate the best deal with people, but you don't want to take advantage of them, especially if they're not knowledgeable about whatever it is you're dealing with them about. So you want to have a fair deal. You always want to deal with people fairly. Really, I think if you're honest and you treat people fairly, everything else just sort of is insignificant to that. So I can't really name 5, my top 5. I'll just name my number 1, and that's the golden rule. And the golden rule isn't, like has been said before, he with the gold rules. It is do unto others as you would have them do to you. Thank you.
Well, since everybody answered one, I could do one if we still. Okay, do you want me to just pick one or do you want to bring one?
Okay, Heather, your question is, has your greatest fear ever come true?
Has my greatest fear ever come true? Well, I've had a lot of fears, but I can't really think of anything that's like been my greatest fear. Like before, I had a really big fear of, I guess, performance. Like whenever I'm playing the flute, like when I have to do auditions and play at concerts, I had a high level of like performance anxiety, but I think I've really reduced that. But I guess it coming true would be seen like with when I would actually like physically shake whenever I was playing my flute and stuff, like at concerts and everything. But now it's really gotten like pretty low as far as my fear with that, because I guess I've really changed my mindset about that and my approach to it, so it's not really a problem. The only other fear that I can think of is my fear of roaches. Like, when I was a kid, I was not afraid of roaches. I was the girl that would, if there was a roach, I would kill it, and I would do it, like, easily. Like, I would chase it, and everybody would be screaming, but now I'm, like, afraid of them for some reason. So, like, I think, like, a week ago, I was actually, like, having, like, a nightmare about it. So that's kind of, like, my current fear, but for anything coming true with that, it's like nothing actually really happens. It's just something I have to get over, I guess. So that's all I can think of as far as fears. Oh, and I guess, I mean, obviously, like, speaking was kind of a fear, which I used to be really, really good at when I was a kid, too, but now I'm kind of getting back into that. I think I've gotten better, but those are, like, all my fears that I can think of, and it's never been, like, really severe and come true and become something, like, really traumatic or anything, so that's all I can think of as far as fears.
Okay, thank you there, Heather. And at this time, we'll go into our evaluation. And our general evaluator for tonight is Katie.
So I thought we had a really great meeting. We started on time, it flowed well. I enjoyed table topics, and it was nice that all 10 of us were able to partake and just be a little bit more informal and share. And Heather did a great job, and I loved the scenarios. I thought they were fun, and I just kept getting more detailed as she kept explaining them. So that was challenging, I think, to the two people who had to face those scenarios, but a lot of fun for the rest of us. So we're going to have our timer, Justin, give us his report.
Okay, so I apologize, I missed timing the first table topic. Cody, you spoke for 33 seconds. Tom, a minute 45. Maurice, a minute 39. Paul, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Katie, 35 seconds. Ewing, did I pronounce that properly? 39 seconds. I spoke for a minute and 51 seconds. Mark, 139. And Heather, 218. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Tom will give us the grammarian report.
Okay, for the grammarian report, I will, because it's table topic, so obviously those of you who are at the podium had during the table topic a larger use of words like and fillers. I'm actually going to separate out the two roles that you served in. Maurice, when he was the Toastmaster, only said and president only said 2 times, but during table topics he said it once, and then but he did use the word "they" correctly. Even actually everybody who used it correctly, which is very impressive. Cheryl had 1 filler word and also used the word of the day. Cody successfully got through his minute with no filler words.
33 seconds.
33 seconds. So he got through his time with none. Mark had 3 times where he went back to a word he had just previously said and then continued on. Heather, as the table topics master, only had 2 filler words. However, when it was her turn for her table topic, she used the word "like" 17 times. 2 of which were actually, 2 more times where she actually needed to use that word, so it wasn't a filler, but 17 other times. But she did, as the table topics master, he used the word of the day. Paul had 15 filler words. I just another one. Katie, in her, I don't remember how long she was up there, had none.
35 seconds.
She had a long pause, but not to the point where it was breaking the momentum. Ewing only, I think I heard 1, but I'm not sure because you were talking quieter than everybody else, and so I think I heard 1. This is why I'm going last. Justin, during the timers report, had no filler words. However, when he was doing his table topic, he repeated stuff a lot. Those repeated that last word a few times. I did like when he said, "I would like to use every lever available," because it had that little visual to it, which was kind of neat, which I did not expect in that type of topic. And for me, during my table topic, I said or twice, and doing this, I said it twice.
Well, thank you, Thomas, for a very detailed report. I know it helps me to hear the number, and so some different grammarians will say a little or a lot, and that helps. I'm a numbers person. So thank you for being so detailed with that. That is all I have as a general evaluator, and I'll relinquish it back to our Toastmaster.
Well, we don't seem to have an educational overview tonight. I would just like to, well, except to say that we are getting better when we take roles during our Toastmasters meetings, and I encourage you just to take a role, even if it's a role that you don't think you're good at, because the only way to get better is to do it. And I think that is also the purpose of speaking. The more you do it, the better you get. You don't have to wait until you think you're close to perfect before you give a speech. Because doing it or practice makes perfect, as the term that is used. So that is sort of an educational overview. Our Vice President of Education is not here tonight, so we don't have an agenda for next week as of yet. So at this time, I will relinquish the lectern back to the President. Thank you, Toastmaster. Before we close out the meeting, are there any comments or anything that we need to talk about?
We're choosing new officers soon, correct? Like, because
Yes.
it's like, so I'm not sure if people who are interested in an officer's position should look up the different roles. Like, I don't know if I know all the roles that are available. You know,
Right.
So.
Okay. There are 7 roles. You got the President, then you got the Vice President of Education, Vice President of Public Relations, Vice President of Membership, then you have Secretary, the Treasurer, and the Sergeant at Arms. And if anyone needs a club officer's manual, I think I have 2 or 3 extra if you don't have one already. And that will give you more detail on what the officers do, their functions. So at this time, if there's...
Maurice, let me add on officers. The normal term for this club is from July 1st to June 31st. And so we'll need to be looking at having elections May at the latest.
Okay.
Give us time to get them inducted and get them on their feet. So as Marty's just saying, if you're interested in an office, just because somebody holds it right now doesn't mean that they wouldn't like you to take over.
All right. Okay, thank you there, Mark.
All right, and let me just throw it up. Are there any questions about those different offices?
What's a sergeant at arms?
I was wondering.
That's like the only one that I can't
Okay,
figure out.
the main thing is the main thing Sergeant Arms does is what I do, put up the banners, the flags, the banner outside, set up the meeting basically. And there's some other functions that we don't usually do. Is we give out hello badges or whatever you call it.
Visitor badges.
Yeah, visitor badges. And supposed to greet each visitor that comes in. You have to be on guard, when a new visitor comes in, you say, good evening, my name is Maurice, welcome to Toastmasters. So there's some little hospitality roles, and besides setting up for the meeting. And I recommend that the Sergeant at Arms comes half an hour before the meeting, but if you're able to come later than 30 minutes before and get everything set up,